Girl Side Quest.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Black Girl Side Quests. We are your hosts. I am Kay and I am accompanied with Nay and Allie. And today's side quest topic is fairies. So fairies, what was the sound? She was a fairy. As a little girl, I loved fairies. You know, the fairy toys, the Barbie fairy princess, anything fairies, fairy stickers, you know. Very whimsical, very cute, very girly, very demure, very mindful. But as we've gotten older, I've been hearing some kind of crazy contents about fairies, how they can actually be evil or scary, mischievous even. What do y'all think about that?
First, I have to ask, are Pixies and Fae in the fairy family, or are they like separate things?
I think they're separate, but they are within the same species.
Okay. Because I love Tinkerbell, but I don't know if they ever say, like, Tinkerbell is a fairy or is she a pixie? She lives in Pixie Hollow.
Oh, hold on. That's a good question. Wait.
Wow, never thought of this one.
Never thought about this before.
Starting it off with the tough questions.
Not it already being a search. Let's see. Tinkerbell is depicted as a fairy, though she's also embodies some characteristics of a pixie. That doesn't give me any answers. The term pixie sometimes is used to describe her, especially within the Disney franchise. Okay.
She's a half-breed.
Born from a laugh, okay?
Born from a laugh.
It was a baby's first laugh, and she broke into two, and she has a sister named Periwinkle, twin sister.
I forgot all about that lore.
Yeah.
Let's see here. They say in folklore, fairies and pixies are often conflated, but there are distinctions. Fairies are generally described as more human-like with wider range of appearances and personalities from beautiful to grotesque. And they may or may not have wings. And then pixies, on the other hand, are typically depicted as smaller than fairies with pointed ears, sometimes wearing green outfits and hats, and are often portrayed as mischievous pranksters. So...
Pixie. Well,
no, because, like...
when she's in Peter Pan, she's very mischievous.
She is.
She's very jealous of Wendy.
But she wasn't always that way, wasn't she? In her backstory, she had all these friends and was happy and nice.
Well, I don't know what the last movie's about, but from what I remember, they never actually go into how she met Peter.
Yeah, so do you think Peter made her that way?
Well, she's jealous of Wendy. I think she thinks Peter's her boyfriend.
And mind you, in Peter Pan, did we ever see Tinkerbell tinker? Was she ever tinkering on anything? Or was she just flying around?
She's flying around.
Because that's her hobby. That's her thing. That's like what she's meant for, is to tinker. So maybe that's why she was...
to be a tinker fairy. When they did the background, she wanted to be something else that was cool, but she was better at tinkering.
I thought she got over that, though.
She did.
She's like, I guess I'm a tinker fairy then.
Yeah.
And she's like really good at it.
That's because everybody helped her realize that she was good at it, but she kept trying to be like a winter fairy or forget what the other ones, mist fairy.
Yeah, and all those other fun ones.
Her ears are pointy, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do they
all have
her
pointy ears. She has a green dress on. She's mischievous. I don't think Disney knows the difference between a fairy and a pixie.
You're making stuff up.
She's a fairy that lives in Pixie Hollow. It throws me off.
Wait a minute.
Maybe the
Are
fairy...
her ears pointy?
Yeah. Her ears... Oh, now you're making me question it.
Right?
I was very confident about it.
I'm looking at images and some of them, they're like hiding her ears. Where are her ears? Like her hair covers like the tip of her ear. Those ears. Oh, wait, no. There, she does have a pointed ear.
Yeah, because like Iridessa and all of them have pointy ears.
Mm-hmm.
But since we were originally introduced to Tinkerbell, I don't think originally she had pointed ears because her hair covers the top of her ear. So it could be a human, like a fairy. But when they made Pixie Hollow, then they made them pixies?
Peter has pointy ears to that.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Peter, what is Peter? Is he?
Right?
I mean, I guess, we can say he's the Lost Boys or whatever, creator of the Lost Boys. But would he be considered a fairy?
I don't know what Peter is. I thought Peter was a lost boy who did not want to grow up, and he made a deal with the fairies.
With the devil.
But I may not be
Right?
remembering that folklore correctly.
Yeah, because he created the Lost Boys by luring them in to make them Lost Boys, but does that make him the original Lost Boy?
Yeah, I would say
Or
he's
is
the
he
original.
a mischievous fairy or pixie? Because isn't that something that fairies do? They will kidnap children. Is he a magic boy? Is he a lost boy? Is he a demon?
Okay, according to the interwebs, he is just a mischievous young boy who has the ability to fly using pixie dust, and what did it say? Oh, and to never grow up. So he just takes other kids and they become lost boys.
See, now, let me
wants
ask
friends.
you. He takes the lost boys. Does he take them so that he takes their energy, their youth, so he can stay young? And then they are technically young, but then they're also dead?
I believe in the original story, if they did grow up, he'd kill them.
Oh.
Or he would leave them in Neverland. I can never remember which one it is, but Captain Hook was a
Who
lost
grew up.
who grew
And
up.
it makes
yeah.
sense on why he's hunting Peter Pan, because, I mean, you literally lured me here for a fun time and then left me in the woods.
Yeah. Well, Captain Hook and his crew, probably.
Mm.
The entire crew. Bunch of lost boys that grew up. And he doesn't take them home to their
But
families.
he
so...
only did for Wendy and them.
Did he take them? Oh, well, they had to, beg to go home, though. Because Peter wanted them to stay. And he wanted Wendy to become the mom and, read them bedtime stories.
Which is odd in its own sense. That's, really creepy that he was just like, no, we don't want to grow up, but we also need a mom.
But to them, I just remembered, I said pixie dust, right? So he uses pixie dust to fly,
Yep.
which makes Tinkerbell not a fairy, but she's a pixie.
But how does this explain his whole shadow situation? Why does the shadow have a personality?
I feel like that's a Disney thing, but we could definitely look it up.
Because it's giving not human.
Definitely not human. And how long has he been doing this for? I mean, it has to be for a while because Captain Hook and them are in their 40s or older. So, but then another thing, that there were also Native Americans in the original Peter Pan. Those were just regular people, indigenous people, right? Or why could they see him and interact with him? But unless, again, they knew Peter Pan as some sort of spiritual entity. Because, Native Americans or indigenous people have a tendency to be more connected to the spiritual side. So maybe Peter Pan is some sort of spiritual folklore that will take your kids if you're bad, or if you wander and linger into the woods, because they got away. They were kids. I mean, he was flirting with the Native American girl. Wendy was upset because he's flirting with her, but he's not hey, let me take her. So, and only he seemed interested in boys, except the one time he took Wendy.
Right.
Didn't Wendy only go along because he took the brothers to take care of the brothers?
It's not like they asked to go with him. He was his shadow and him were searching for kids. They're knocking on their window hey kids, wanna see some magic? And they're oh yeah, sure, half sleep, oh, yeah, why not?
Well, in the Disney version, I'm assuming we're sticking with the Disney version, because the original says that it actually calls it fairy dust in the original one. So with the Disney version, if you remember, they went to bed, and then Tinkerbell started messing with stuff in the house, and Peter tried to catch Tinkerbell, who was trapped inside the box. His shadow, he had to get the shadow back because his shadow was trying to do stuff too. So he wasn't there to get the kids. He was there to get his shadow back and to get
What
Tinkerbell.
was Tinkerbell doing in there?
I think she was trying to catch the shadow as well.
So his shadow's just
Roman.
searching
Mischievous.
for children. I don't know. What's his shadow doing in the real world?
Well, the same thing he is, just flying around.
Why aren't you with your boys? Right? he's out and about in public. Like, shouldn't you be with your friends? See, it's mischievous fairy lore. Because why aren't you satisfied with the handful of young kids you already have? He's searching. He needs more youth.
Well, I mean, that's where you can argue that maybe when he got his first little taste of fairy dust, maybe there's something behind the whole story. I mean, it says the original Peter Pan story was written after the author's younger brother falling through ice and dying in an ice skating accident. But to that, you can always read into it and say maybe Peter wanted to be a fairy, and in order to become one, he had to do something mischievous because that's what fairies do. You could say that, or
interesting.
I don't know. Why was Peter there? Because only halflings in folklore about fairies and pixies, they're the ones who go and pretend to be the children that they kidnap, and they may or may not bring the kids back.
Interesting. Maybe he is a halfling or a switchling and changeling. Yeah.
Changeling or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
They kept him, and then they're like, oh, you know what? He's actually pretty cool. We're gonna give him some magic or whatever. And and then he's just like, oh, here I am. But then he's the only one. So he's just like, I'm gonna look for humans because they kind of look more like me, perhaps, or more of my vibe. And then he's just like, oh, why are they growing up? And he doesn't know. He doesn't know how to turn them into pixies. Because would he even be considered a pixie? Because technically pixies are smaller, which means he may be considered more of a fairy. Because then he's wearing all green.
Maybe he wants
fairy
to be
wanting to be a pixie.
A demi fairy.
Demi. It's like Elf. But he's really big.
And another thing,
elf.
Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Tinkerbell and Peter Pan were a legitimate couple. If they were to have a child, what would that be? I just said hypothetically.
There are.
I don't want to do that.
Go for this.
I don't want to do that. I'm not saying how could they have the child. It's more so of what would that child be? Would it be It
would be like a halfling, I'm assuming, because Peter. That's the ultimate question. What is Peter? Why are his ears pointing?
He doesn't have wings.
Disney?
In Robin Williams Hook.
Okay.
I don't think so, but
because then he's a regular human. He forgot he was ever a lost boy. He just grew up and did the human stuff. So,
speaking of fairies, y'all remember Fur and Gully?
Yes.
Now, are those pixies or fairies?
How do you know?
Well, because they're so tiny. Okay, so when I picture fairies, I think they're human size, kind of like an elf, but they can shrink down. But a pixie is always going to be super microscopic size, like a firefly size. I don't know.
Oh, wait, no. Fur and Gully, a group of fairies. They're fairies.
Fur and Gully are fairies. Fair enough. What about Thumbelina?
Do I know Thumbelina? I'm pretty sure Thumbelina, they're fairies too.
I think a lot of places love fairies, but do people know the actual difference between fae fairies and pixies? Because fae are humanoid fairies.
And I just looked Thumbelina, because she is a flower fairy, or who she fell in love with is a flower fairy prince.
But Thumbelina's just small, right?
She was just came out of a flower, I think, too, but she had no wings. I think. She was given to that older lady, and because who wanted something to love for a daughter. They're here you go. I don't know if she was stolen. I don't know, because she came out kind of fully grown. Not really fully grown, but
not a baby.
Yeah, a teenager. If you can even call her that. I don't know.
Close enough.
So, okay. Fairies, pixies. The topic is really fairies. All right.
Fae.
So,
Just saying, really quick side note, since we're not going to talk about it, my favorite Fae so far right now is A Court of Thorns and Roses, because I just have so much beef with that book series right now. But continue.
I haven't finished it yet, so I don't have quite a bias yet on which fairies, but which also means I don't know a ton of the fairy lore. Can people turn into fairies? Is that a thing? Do they have to, like, vampire rules? Or they gotta do some sort of ritual and now you are part of the Fae?
It depends on what book you're reading.
Oh gosh.
Magic can do anything.
Spoiler, magic can do anything in ACOTAR. The cauldron can do anything in ACOTAR. Yeah, I don't know. Like, some of them can. I mean, I would imagine that in every fairy folklore, they probably could. If they had the right magic, but they would probably call it like dark magic or something, like it shouldn't be done.
Okay, because it reminds me of this one book that I used to read when I was like a teenager. I think it was called Wings, and it was by April Pike. And basically the gist of that book was this girl, she's like, I'm so different. I'm so skinny and petite and beautiful and gorgeous, and I don't eat that much, and I'm not very athletic, but I'm beautiful and natural in every type of way. But I'm a loner, and the kids think I'm different. And then one day she's just like, oh, there's a bump on my back. What is that? And then eventually over time, this bump turns into like a flower. And she's just like, is this a flower on my back? What the heck? This is crazy. I'm not going to tell my parents because I'm a teenage girl and they won't understand. So I'm just going to continue to be very cute and petite and tiny and only drink a Sprite and like a half of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And man, the boys, the girls are all mean and shallow, but not me. I'm so different. So, so I'm going to talk to the cool boy in school or whatever. And then this thing on her back keeps growing, but it's like, it looks like plants. And she's just like, I'm going to go back to my old time home or wherever she is. She goes back to her old childhood home. She takes a walk into the forest. She falls down a path. There you got fairies. They're human size, but they don't have wings. They're like, what? You look like you should be with us. And she's just like, you're a psycho. She runs and they oh, you have magic, I have magic, and it was just a lot. It's a good book though. If you are into to that type of stuff, teenage me definitely was. But it was this like idea that like I guess she was what did you call it? Not a switch, a changeling. Where somehow something happened. These fairies, I believe, were like, hey, you can take care of our daughter, I suppose. And they're like, cool, because we want one. And they just like take care of her until her like 18th birthday, as a lot of books also like to do. And you're a princess. You're our princess. Our kingdom was in trouble, and we needed to send you off somewhere where you could be safe because you also have rare magic. The rarest. Yeah, the rarest that you've only seen except once every 100 years. The ability to control all elements. Yes. And I was eating that up as a kid. To where you're just like, yeah, I would love to be like a little fairy. But at what cost though? You know, if you're a natural fairy, that's one thing. But if you're a human dealing with fairies, it's a lot different. It seems to be more problems than there is reward. It may be. What do y'all think?
I mean, sounds like an interesting book. I don't know, like, would I want to be a fairy? Or like if I found out that I was one, I'd probably be like her and be like, I'm gonna run. Don't follow me. I'm a human. I grew up a human. You're not gonna sit here and tell me that this weird. I'm gonna cut the flower off my back.
Well, and that's the thing. She tried to, and it hurt. It was like a part of her until like a certain point. I guess it, and that was another thing too. That was the other thing too. Oh, it was there because it was summertime. It was spring, summertime. So she's in full bloom. Oh, readers, do you know what that means? Puberty. So, she needed someone to
deflower her.
That's, now that I'm thinking about it as an adult, I'm thinking that was what the gist was, because the fairy man in there that she meets in the woods, she's like, oh, what is all this stuff on me? And he was just like, oh, sorry. And it's like glitter. And he's just like, oh, sorry. It's just your flower. Your flowers. Your flowers just blooming. You just have that thing out there. And eventually, you know, over time, it disappears, because I guess it pops out only during that time. I don't know. I haven't read the book in like 10 years.
Yeah, he pollinated her.
And no, really. It's just like petals just kept falling off. And she's just like, oh no. And
I wouldn't be like, oh no. I'd be like, well, great. I got rid
of it. In the book, I think she was just like, I should be relieved, but now I'm sad. And I was just like, no, I get it, girl. Because I too would be sad if the giant flower on my back that I had to do so many precautions to try to cover. Like she's wearing turtlenecks. She's tucking it into her pants. Like this is a big. Imagine like a Bulbasaur. That's how it was like described. Like this big Bulbasaur flower, just like on her back. But she was just like, but it hangs down. Like when she looks at it in the mirror, it hangs down like wings. But it's more of a flower. So I don't know. I should probably reread that book, or maybe not, because again, it's probably for teenagers, the young adults, and
the young adult section is good.
It's just, you know, when you reach an age to where I'm no longer 16, and I'm not like, I'm in high school, and I'm different.
Yeah, I mean, like Twilight's hard to read, and yeah, so I get that. So, what if you were like the person who was living in this world, and you decided to follow your friend who has a flower on their back, and you just step across a fairy circle, or is that what it's called? The fairy trap.
Yeah.
In the
and
woods.
That's the thing. Oh, also in this book, of course, it's not even a love triangle. It's kind of like a harem. There's two boys, the human boy and the fairy boy, and she originally loved the human boy, but then met the fairy boy, and he's all mysterious and just ooh, and the human boy is just all golden retriever, and I'm here for you. And in this book, I'm pretty sure there were sequels, and I just don't know what that's about. But in this one, she's just like, who do I choose? I want to be with the human boy because that's all I know, but something in me is like yearning for the fairy world or whatever. And but I believe he at one point did go to their world. The human boy was like, he was in the forest with them, or at least was helping, or there was a plan for him to possibly assist her there. But again, it was one of those things where these fairies are like human size. They're not like little tiny people. They're like actual regular sized people, just like in a different dimension.
Would you say
what do you call? What's her name?
Her last name is Pike.
Yeah, April Lynn.
And it's called Winged or Wings?
It's just called Wings, and it's by April Lynn Pike.
I typed in Wings, and it said my big gums typed in Wongs. Wong's book series. 15.
Oh, is she 15? Oh, see, even younger.
Yeah, young adult literature, romance.
Oh yeah, I remember eating that up. 13 years old, like, oh my gosh. Oh wow. 13, 14.
It has a 3.8 on Goodreads.
Hey.
There's 5 books in the series.
5? Wow. Okay, so I have no idea how that series ends. Anyone who's listening who's just like, I know that series, I'm so sorry I only read the first book. Again, my mind, it's been over 10 years, 15 years. And I'm just going based off of the little bit where I was just like, wow, that was so relatable. I too would like to have a flower on my back. Oh, and that was another thing too. So there was, of course, a dance, and she was just like, ooh, I'm going to use my flower as an accessory, because it was some of like dress up thing, like a costume, and she like put the dress around the flower, and people were like, whoa, where did you get that cool special effects, and they didn't know that that's literally came out of her body. So
So what you're saying is if you stepped into a fairy trap today, you would definitely stay with the fairies
absolutely
if
not.
they let you
I
live.
wouldn't step in a fairy trap. And I maybe it's one thing if you like observe a fairy trap, but like I'm not going to like willingly
Sure.
go in. And if I'm already in, I hope they spare me. That's it.
I'm very curious about like what's supposed to happen, like because it's just a circle. So like if you step in it, like do you shrink? Does a powder come up and knock you out and somebody
Wow.
drag you away?
Like either a good luck or a bad luck thing, because I think fairy circles are created when they said like fairies are dancing in a circle and they're mushrooms, and so like if you step into like their happy, magical spot where they are doing these dancing rituals, they may be like, oh, someone's been here and we're going to track them down. We're going to find them. And then if fairies are being all mischievous, they might like come to your house. They might be like, ooh, we're going to mess with your yard. They get in your house. They start stealing stuff, because I guess that's something fairies do too. They mess with pets, and then if you have a child, they may just take that child.
It says, stepping into a fairy ring, according to folklore, can lead to various misfortunes, from bad luck and curses to being trapped in the ring and forced to dance with the fairies until exhaustion or death. Some tales even suggest being transported to the fairy realm. So I would want to be transported to the fairy realm, and I would just learn their ways. Until you die?
And dance and dance.
Until you die.
Until I die.
You end up being stuck in there and you're like, nothing happens. You just cannot leave. And you're just like, well, what now? And they're like, I can't. I'm stuck here forever.
It's just like the ones I always see, like other people are like, oh, this is a fairy circle. It's always so teeny tiny. So I'm just like wondering how you get stuck in something.
I saw
that's
one on
smaller than your shoe.
TikTok the other day, and it wasn't that small. They were like building a fire pit, and the fairies thought that it was a gift for them, so they made a circle of mushrooms around it. So it was a pretty big circle.
I've also seen
Oh my god! It's like
I've also seen videos of like people walking in like meadows or places that aren't touched by humans normally, and the fairy rings can be like really big, like take up a whole meadow. So I guess it depends on where you're at.
so like you could just be tra-la-lying around in a field, and there could just be like this 20-foot fairy circle that you don't see because no one's paying attention to the mushrooms in the area, and you just walk into it.
Oops,
and then you're
now I
just
gotta
trapped.
marry you and be your slave. And...
Oh no! Now I have to marry the fairy prince and live in his palace.
I get to eat whatever I want, but I want to go back to my poor family.
Even though if I stay, it will bring peace between the fairies and the human realm. And he has a library for me.
This is terrible. He has servants who always change my clothes and run
And they
me
have
bath
mythical
water.
creatures who've become my friends, like this magical Pegasus or this these little fairy tinker thingies, and they're so cute. But no, I have to go back to my poor, just shambles of a home, a cottage, where my village hates me, and I have no parents, and I'm struggling, and I have to hunt for my food every day, and I'm just making it by. I'm selling bones for a few schmeckles, but that's what I know. That's what I was taught.
Hey, they're not bones.
So
They're
she
jewelry,
put it on a
okay?
string, and she made it a necklace, but they're bones regardless.
These are the teeth of my grandmother.
Oh no, these are the bones of the dire wolf I killed out there. Okay, girl.
We'll never say that they're
Ivory,
teeth.
Okay.
They're ivory.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because she knows how to sell. She's been doing it since she was like 11 years old.
Lovely ivory. Look how beautiful it is. Is that the wolf? No.
And you're telling me you wouldn't want to live in that fairyland?
Well, it depends on which fairyland it is, because Also, some people are saying, the movie Coraline, that Coraline went through all of that because she stepped into a fairy trap. And in the movie, you can
to rewatch that movie. I think I've seen it one time.
No.
It's like James and the Giant Peach. I've only seen it one time. I don't like claymation.
I love claymation.
Or stop motion.
Stop motion.
That's why you don't like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh yeah, it's so
it
cringy.
came out so long ago too. But yeah, with Coraline, I remember watching it as she's like, they get to the new house and she's like exploring. There's a part where she, unbeknownst to her, she walks into a fairy trap. And there's this idea that the other mother and all the other characters are a type of fairy. Or a fairy realm, or a different realm, because she disturbed this trap. So, and possibly the other kids do because they're kind of just haphazardly in the yard. And if no one knows, people don't know fairy lore, how would you know? So, and with that, they start off, this other mother starts off really cool and she's happy and she wants to be there. But then again, it's another trap to take kids and to eat them. Was that the goal? I forgot if that was like her goal.
I think she just wanted to sew her eyes shut and put buttons on them and keep her like as her pet daughter.
Because like the other kids, I'm pretty sure she did that, but they were like lost souls still.
Yeah, they were still dead.
Yeah, it's been a while. So I didn't know if she like ate them because she was also giving kind of like spider too.
Yeah.
Is this topic boring, Allie? Is our claymation discussion of Coraline and her fairy circles, is this boring to you're gonna have to apologize to a Coraline fan base. It's huge, mind you. They have a very serious fan base.
The yawn was from waking up with like the worst allergies.
Because you ate shrimp and you weren't supposed to eat shrimp.
Oh,
she knows she's allergic.
Again. You know you're allergic to shrimp.
Listen. It's delicious.
I hear you, but then you're like, why do I feel so terrible? Yeah.
I rest my case.
Why do you feel so terrible?
I never did take that allergy medicine.
If you're going to eat the thing that causes allergies, at least pop one of those allergy pills. Goodness gracious.
Sucks the fun out of everything.
Speaking of fairies too, apparently there are like rules. Like from what I've seen online, people who say that they have claimed to have been infiltrated by fairies, that there are signs like, you'll think that, I always put my keys here and now your keys are missing, or you'll find your keys in like an unusual spot. And, I feel like I hear little tinkering noises or little laughs, little bells, but there's nothing there. And I guess the more you kind of like acknowledge it, the stronger it could be.
So they haunt you.
Yes. And one thing they said not to do is give a fairy your name or tell it thank you. Because apparently if you give it its name, it's like they can form a contract with you. And if you tell them thank you, that's like an invitation for them to just like take what they want. They're like, like if they leave you something, let's say you're like, I think fairies are here or whatever. And let's say they leave outside of your door like a cool little rock and a flower. And you're like, the fairies gave this to me. You can't just be like, thank you, fairies, because then they're like, we got her. We can get into her house. That's all we needed.
I'm gonna thank the otter. Wow. It's probably an otter.
An otter?
Yeah, you've never seen those videos online where like otters, the way they say thank you is they give you their favorite rock.
Well, they weren't in water.
They use it to break.
They weren't in water.
Huh?
Wow.
That's what they showed us. Their suburban house. No water in sight. No, don't get me wrong.
I won't say thank you, fairies. I'm gonna say thank you, random otter that came all the way from the ocean.
You're playing with fire there.
You are
be in the gray area.
And like, yeah, no, I wouldn't. And then don't tell them your name too. At the very least, don't say your real name.
Okay, but what if somebody else comes up and says my name and then I respond to it? Wouldn't they know my name at that point?
I don't know.
I don't know how
I
deep
think
it
you
is.
have to like, it's kind of like they give their name, you give their name, or like an exchange, like, hi, I'm such and such, what's your name? And it's like a contract to where you now know their name, they know your name. But if they hear your name, I don't think it works. But then again, what do I know? These are fairies. It's they could make that up.
Fairy law
It
is
is.
very complicated.
It is. And fairies also have this like prestigiousness to them, similar to elves. Like they seem so like they're all about nature, sure, but they're kind of like, we're fairies. Take us seriously. We're fae. Yeah. Yeah, like
See, not all fae can fly though, from my understanding.
Some have wings and some don't.
So different cultures have different visions of what fairies look like. Like, I know a lot of Americans picture fairies as like your Tinkerbell and like your humanoid type thing. And then some cultures, fairies are very gross looking and they have pointy noses and sharp teeth, and they're ready to eat you kind of thing. These scary creatures with wings. And then, so it's like, what does a fairy look like to you? Like, do you think they're these grotesque creatures, or do they look like a humanoid, like an elf kind of look? They look beautiful with gorgeous wings, your Tinkerbell kind of character.
I think they look like bugs. Not necessarily ugly, but like praying mantises that can fly.
I too was thinking they were like, when I first think fairy, I think of something really small, like the size of a firefly, where you'll see like this little light of clusters of light, and you're like, oh, are those fairies? But they don't necessarily like the idea of a grown fairy, like a human-sized fairy, is a little like odd to me, because at that point, if you don't have wings, but you have pointy ears, you're just an elf. No, I'm sorry. That's rude to say. That's rude to say. They could be fae.
They could be fae if they don't have wings.
Right.
Which
Does
is
that
the type
make
of fairy.
elves a type of fae?
No, because fae have powers. Well, you have a human,
and we're not
have
fae.
Powers. We're not fae.
Fairy. Let's see. In some contexts, particularly in fantasy literature, elves can be considered a type of fairy or a related creature within the border category of fae. Oh, great. So now we have... So it seems like fae is just the mythical umbrella term, and you can have fairy, pixie, elf, and, I mean, what else could you have? Gnome? Is gnome a fairy? Like... or is gnome fae?
I would not classify a gnome in that area. Do gnomes have powers?
They can. Let's see.
My brain hurts.
Yeah, gnomes aren't considered fairies, though. So, okay, no. So, yeah, so it seems like with fairies, I mean, growing up, there's all these different types of fairies, but from at least how we've seen it, they've been very cutesy, girly, kind of associated with girls and princesses, and tend to be normal, maybe a little bit playful, but not necessarily evil. I mean, even like with like Maleficent, she's like a humanoid or tall human, like, but she's fairy.
Right.
Her wings were cut off.
A strange fairy. Like the wings of
all the fairies had it like that in the second movie.
Oh, did they? I didn't see the second one.
Oh, you have to see the second one. Yeah, she goes, like, she meets all these other fae, and they're, like, all these different types of bird wings, and it's so cool. Now, Maleficent, she has magic, but we don't necessarily see the others use magic.
Did Aurora forget to invite her to her kids'
No,
birthday,
it was
baby
like
shower?
Aurora was getting married, and the mother-in-law of the prince was just like, we don't want to deal anything with Maleficent, and so she was trying to, like, get Maleficent out of there because she really didn't want any attachment to her. And then Maleficent was just like, you're not about to take my kid again. And then Aurora was just like, mothers, please don't fight, but then, like, whatever. And then all the fays came to help her, and, it was a lot. You gotta watch it.
over an invitation again. So did not learn their lesson the first
it was one of those things. Literally, it wouldn't have happened. All you had to do was be like, this is our wedding and you're invited, and Aurora wanted her there, and all the royals are just like, no, she's scary. Yeah, because you guys keep making her scary. Like, stop. If the baby who was cursed was able to forgive the fairy, perhaps everyone else should, so that she can stop tearing up our kingdoms. A lot of times too, you just gotta leave the fairies alone. Just leave them alone. And I don't think you have to worry about them messing with you. Like, especially like in nature. I mean, I know some people who are more on the whimsy side. They want to like leave offerings to the fairies. Hey guys, you can just leave offerings to like crows. They'll provide you with the same amount of affection, you know?
Don't give the crows anything, that they're too smart for that.
I mean, but if you're looking for that level of like quid pro quo, you might as well.
They'll just keep coming back.
Yeah, like if you want that relationship, you might as well just befriend the ravens or the crows.
You can like trade stuff, right?
Oh yes.
You can be like, here's food, and they'll bring you something else.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok where this lady gave this crow like a piece of food, and it came back with like the spleen of a squirrel or something. And you're like, oh, that's not quite what I was looking for, but thank you so much.
They'll keep bringing you things depending on like what the reward is. Like, and they'll bring different things to you to see if they can get more.
And I would love to have that relationship with crows. Or ravens. Either one. I can do either one. Just maybe not bones of dead animals. But yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
But yeah, guys, I mean, when in doubt, fairies, I would say leave them alone. They're cool in storybooks, but I mean, there's too many other lore where they seem dangerous and not worth messing around with. Especially in like other countries. It seems like the Fae are just like, they'll steal your children. Like they're stealing and eating children.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Eating the kids out here. These little things are like breaking into our homes, taking our kids, and then forcing us to raise their children. Mind you, could you imagine you're like, my kid looks a little different all of a sudden, but you know, it is what it is. Babies change. You raise this baby that you think is yours, and then like what? Then one day it's just like, sorry mom, I'm going back to the woods. What? You don't think I'm going to notice that when my child switched out? When do they plan to switch my kid back?
When you're exhausted.
And another thing, you don't think they're not gonna notice the pointy ears? Like how?
I don't think you would notice the.
They're just gonna make. They're gonna make their Fae baby look exactly human like my child.
Yep.
I just think as a mother I would know.
They have magic. I mean, there are people who go crazy and they're like, that's not my baby. And people are like, that is your baby. I'm looking at them and they're like, I'm going to deem this mother as crazy and I'm going to put her in a psych ward. And the mom's like, that's an alien. That's not my baby. I know what my baby looks like. So like, I mean, those could be reasons why. We don't know if like the supernatural actually exists.
Crazy. Oh yeah, no, I would hate that.
And then like, you know, okay, so in ACOTAR, you have the people who actually like the Fae, and they want to do stuff to be in their good graces. So maybe there's people out there who are taking children and, like, because they're like, oh, if I take your child, the Fae promised me I could
like
become one of them. And then they're taking them off.
Oh my gosh, it's like a sacrifice. So maybe some people see the Fae as gods, and they think, oh, you know, based off of what they're doing, it's actually a god, and they're looking at it in a spiritual way. And meanwhile, they're just little mischievous little creatures eating your kids or taking your kids.
Exactly.
Turning your kids into, I don't know, servants, slaves. I don't know what they're doing.
Well, I mean, different ones say they'll like take your kid, eat them, or they'll turn into a servant, or they'll become like your lover. Like,
after it grows up.
Right. On their mood. I think it depends on their mood.
Interesting. Man, there was this one movie though I saw. I forgot what it was called. And it was more so scary. So where like this girl gets lost in the woods and they were like, what's it called? The Watchers. The Watcher. Oh yeah, you guys should watch it. And technically, they call these creatures. The girl got lost in the woods. She finds some other people there, and they're in this huge, like, clear box of some sorts where people can look in, but when you're in, you can't see out. So it's like a fish tank.
Yes.
And yeah,
She had a bird with her?
yes,
Dakota Fanning? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. And so although these things that were watching them were called Watchers, they had some Fae background to the story with this idea of they were originally higher up in society, and then like the humans took over. Now they're in hiding in this forest, and in the forest they would collect human items like bikes and toys and maps and all these things that you wouldn't really think that fairies would want. But they had it, and one time, the woman tried to take something and it like freaked them out. They knew when something was missing, which is interesting because they steal, but then when you steal back from them, they're like really upset. So with that, but these creatures they weren't like pretty cute. They were scary. And they were huge, and they were almost like tried to mimic humans in a sense because they wanted to get back into the human world, which some people may say like fairies too are trying to like kind of interact with the human world. Again, I don't know why they would want to. I don't know what interest they would have with people, but if it's true, who knows? At that point, I don't want to really deal with the fairy realm. I don't want to mess with them. I don't think I want to be a fairy. I think I'm good.
You wouldn't want to
Well,
be
if I was
born
like born a Disney-style fairy, yes.
What if you were born in like with just one of those like fairy tale like romance book?
Yeah,
fairy
that's
worlds?
fine too, because more than likely I'll be a fairy princess. Oh no! What, Father? What do you mean I have to get married to save the land? And then, it's someone who I don't want to marry, and then there's human man who's like lost in the mountains, and I save him. And he's like a lost prince. I don't know. It's stuff like that, sure, but other than that, not really much of like, oh, I want to be a fairy. Though I know, I've dressed up as a fairy, Black Fae Day. You guys participated that in the past?
I'm an elf girly.
An elf girly. I haven't participated in that. However, this past weekend, I went to a Midsummer Night's Dream picnic, and we dressed like fairies and stuff, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like dressing up as fairies, like fairy stuff, content, like that, when it's cool and pretty and girly, absolutely, I'm all on board. When we start getting into like the real magical spiritual fairies, I'm going to stay away from that because they do scare me.
Part of me likes fairies just because of the wings, but then I'm like, I could end up like Maleficent, just like my wings could get cut off. So I don't know if I want wings.
Your arm could get cut off too.
Mr. Barbecue.
So
anything could get cut off.
Like that man could have just been like, I'm going to cut off her arm to show that I like defeated her, and you're just like
stab her in the eye.
Her wings could come back, right?
They're magic, and I guess he like cut them off right at the base. When she got close to her wings, they were able to like go to her and reattach.
If I knew that I could do that, maybe. But if you're like, I'm gonna give you one set of wings, and I'm telling you if a human cuts them off, then they're not coming back. The amount of rage that would go through me if someone cut them off.
I'm not gonna lie, in some anime that do involve like fairies, like wing cutting is like a thing. They are like cutting those wings and selling them for like a bunch of money. So, but at the same time, then that's the thing. If you're a fairy, I'm not messing with people. They're cutting wings. I'm going nowhere near people.
No wings for me unless they're barbecue or buffalo flavor.
Seems like the whole point of being a fairy. I want the wings. If I'm a fairy, give me the wings. But I also want the kind that like can flap out, and then when I'm just regularly standing, they like kind of drop down. I still want to be able to like go through doors.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't mind the disappearing kind, like a magic wing. Kind of like I can summon them and make them show up and go away.
That'd be cool too.
I guess this begs the question of, how do you feel about fairies? Let us know down in the comments.
Yeah,
Would you want to
guys
be one?
want to be a fairy? Would you want to interact with fairies? Offer them anything? Would you go into a fairy ring? Some people do. Some people are looking for that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Black Girl Side Quest.